Good morning and welcome to The Point. It is Tuesday, June 1st, 2021. Thank you to those of you joining us on the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11 and 20. Good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9 and all the folks joining us on Party Grenada and Go to FET Facebook pages. Always a pleasure. My virtual guest this morning is the NDC's Caretaker for the Sister Isles of Carriacou and PT Martinique, Mr. Tevin Andrews. Good morning, Tevin. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning, Blossom. I am well and happy to be on GBN, this wonderful morning program.
Appreciate it so very much.
Good morning to all the people of Carriacou and PT Martinique and by extension Grenada and Grenadians wherever they are at this time.
A big up the Sister Isles, of course.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Tevin, this morning, Carriacou and PT Martinique. You know what? Let me start with a broad question. How are things in Carriacou and PT Martinique? What's the latest happening on the Sister Islands?
Well, when you talk about what's happening in Carriacou and PT Martinique, it has to be in what context. If it relates to being the most beautiful place to be in the world, then you know that's a fact. And of course, I'm hoping that you can come up to Carriacou. Well, I should be to Carriacou, Blossom.
Boy, I'm ashamed to answer that question. Don't ask me that question in public.
Listen, all you must come to Carriacou for staycation. We can't travel to the US and so on as before. It's not as easy as. Come to Carriacou. Just make sure you guys don't have COVID. That's all.
I agree. Carriacou is a beautiful place. I agree with that one.
It is. On the current affairs issues, I mean, whether it's the healthcare issue that has continued to be a topical issue here, whether it is the situation with Bishop's College and the Hillsborough Government School, and many other little issues here and there that needs to be polished up. I'm quite disappointed that the authorities knew that Bishop's College, which is a secondary school on the island, had to be repaired, refurbished, whichever way you want to put it, or reconstructed. And adequate provisions was not made for alternative accommodation for the students at the Bishop's College. So what ended up happening is that one of the primary schools had to sacrifice a few days to allow some of the Bishop's College students to go at the school while some of the younger students at the primary school stay home. That's rather unfortunate. I believe that there are adequate space in terms of buildings throughout the length and breadth of Carriacou that the authorities could have pinpointed and say, let us use this as the alternative accommodation to house our students and teachers in the meantime, instead of interrupting the learning, of the younger students at the Hillsborough government. And I can speak on it because my nieces and nephews and other, close friends and relatives of mine are affected. And the parents are also affected by this. So I'm hoping that sooner rather than later that this matter will be resolved and things are going to get back on track soon.
Well, this begs the question, how would that affect the students getting ready to sit CXC examinations, as well as those from the Hillsborough Primary that were participating in CPEA last week? How do you think this has affected them, especially dealing with the effects of COVID-19 and the disruption the pandemic has caused?
Well, certainly it has affected them. I've spoken with parents. I've spoken to some of the students who are preparing for CXC at Bishop's College and who all sat the CPA exams, and they spoke about the frustration and how the lack of attending classes and the different environment and so on has affected them. So we only hope that the students who sat the CPA exams will perform well in spite of the challenges that they faced. And of course, hoping that the student of Bishop's College will also be able to have adequate accommodation so that they'll be able to sit the CXC exams. But what is concerning more to me is the fact that the ever changing of where they have to attend the classes and so forth. Because, for example, sometime last week, I recall they had to, because the place is so small, where they are now accommodating some of the students, Some students had to take a break for one class, leave the classroom, and allow other classes to come in. So, it interrupted the whole thing. So it just goes to show that there's no proper planning in place by our so-called leaders. It's very unfortunate. You know that there's going to be major construction. You know that you have to think about alternative accommodation. All of those things should have been put in place before the construction even started. But this is the type of leaders that we have in this place here. So I wish the students of Bishop's College well. And of course, I'm hoping that the students of the Hillsborough Government School could get back the school and things could run smoothly once again for them. And of course, Bishop's College.
You briefly mentioned, there were health concerns on the sister aisle. What are some of those concerns that you have? Is it directly related to COVID-19 or other health issues?
Well, not directly related to COVID, but other health issues as it relates to, we have no diagnostic equipment in Carriacou Blossom at our hospital, government hospital. We have no X-ray, we have no ultrasound machine, we have no nutritionists, we have no lab technicians. All patients, the ones that have health challenges that we can't deal with in Carriacou, have to be transported to Grenada. And it's rather unfortunate. And in some cases, if it's a health emergency, we have to get the Coast Guard to bring them down to Grenada. And my goodness, we saw what happened to the Coast Guard yesterday. So just imagine there's some turbulent waters, which happens in most cases. A patient have to lie on the floor of the Coast Guard or of the Osprey or what have you, and going down in the high seas in the middle of the night to seek medical attention. It's not a comfortable experience. And taking into consideration all of that, I believe it's time that the authorities do more to help with the situation, the health crisis that we face in Carriacou and PT Martinique. Yeah, I have a situation now. I have to take my son is not doing well. After this interview, I have to take him to the doctor. The reality is, we have the specialized doctors that comes up to Carriacou. They come once a month or sometime once a month, depending on their schedule as well. Government send them up once a month. So we have a pediatrician, very good man, I know him very well, who comes up every last Friday in the month. And you have the surgeon who comes up every whatever day of the month and so on. But the question is, what if something happens to you or your child on a particular day?
Before or after they came?
Before, after, and they only come for one day. It's only for one day. So it saddens me that after all these years, that Carriacou and PT Martinique, and they come to Carriacou, so the people at PT Martinique who can't leave their home, or what have you, so the people at PT Martinique are also affected by this. So it's time that we have either do more regular visits or put a system in place where we could have them stationed here. Now, I talk about the problems. Here are the solutions. The solution is partnering with the diaspora. We have many medical professionals, whether it's pediatricians, surgeons, what have you. They can assist us. They're willing to assist. Make it easier for them to come home to give their service. They can come on a work vacation. So they're coming to give their service for free, and they get a little vacation. But of course, the Ministry of Health will have to, instead of them paying for the medical license here in Grenada to operate, the Ministry of Health can waiver it, because I understand the medical license is a very expensive one. And that is why when our health professionals come here and they want to help and they're asked to pay all this money, they say, well, no way, because I'm giving my service. So that's how the government could step in, by assisting in the process. So we need to partner with the diaspora. We also need to partner with SGU. St. George's University is one of the best medical universities in the world. It's right here in Grenada. And yet we have this, I almost going to use a word. If I was in the street, I would have used another word. We have this poor healthcare system in Grenada. So we need to see how we can work with SGU to bring a better standard of medical services in Carriacou and PT Martinique, and by extension, Grenada, the nation. So because it's there, and they're doctors, they're people that want to assist, but the Ministry of Health, the government of the day, need to be more welcoming, and this is one of the solutions. So apart from the diaspora, partner with SGU. We also need to ensure that there's a public-private partnership to engage the private sector to assist more in the health services here in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Because in the end of the day, everybody benefit, because a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. If you have more healthy people, then the likelihood of some of your people getting sick or dying because of lack of medical care and attention will be less. So the private sector also need to step in and assist. We need to ensure that some of our health practitioners, our nurses, our doctors, that they are trained on a regular basis. The unfortunate thing is, Blossom, is that most of our doctors and nurses, after they get their medical license, that's it. No more training for them, It's supposed to be an ongoing something. So this is something that needs to happen. And lastly, these people need to pay a better wage. The wages that those doctors and nurses are getting are pittance. So we need to do more that is what we can do to help with the healthcare system here in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So I talked about the problem. That I believe is a solution. Partner with the private sector, diaspora partnering, SGU, regular training for our professionals, and so on. Also, as it relates to scholarships, Blossom, we shouldn't just accept any and any scholarships from any and any country. We welcome them, and we thank the countries that are giving them. We are very grateful. But the Diaspora Affairs Office, if we have one, I think we do, I'm not too sure, the Ministry of Education, our ambassadors, and all of these wonderful people need to reach out to countries like Cuba and other countries that have programs, teaching programs, where we can ask for specific scholarships for those areas that are needed here in Grenada. That is what I believe needs to happen. So we need to really get our government working. Unfortunately, what we have government who believe that because they build a box drain and a 200-footer road, they believe that they're working. And the reality is they ain't doing nothing. So we need to get government working by actually doing those things which will benefit the country on a whole. I hope I'm making sense.
You are. Okay. Have you ever brought these solutions to the powers that be, or attempted to? Try to collaborate with, if not the parliamentary representative, but somebody else that you can come together with to see that these things are actually put to fruition, can actually be put in place for the betterment of the Sister Isles?
Oh, definitely. I have tried on several occasions to reach out to our member of parliament. And, of course, to no avail. And of course, I'm always talking, and I speak to many of the government ministers. So I also bring it up to them. I wouldn't call names because I want them to get in trouble, for nobody to call them any names in Parliament on the street. But yes, I bring up many solutions and ideas to them. But as they say to me, it's not them. In the end of the day, the one man is in control and he has all the say, so they can't really, their hands are tied. Their hands are tied. And based on what I'm seeing taking place, their hands are tied. And what I heard the former ambassador said, it seems so indeed.
Is there any, or should I say, what is the biggest hindrance that a lot of these things that can help Carriacou develop, progress, advance are not taking place? What's the problem?
Because we have a lot of domats. Just give me 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Mommy. Mommy, I'm on.
While Tevin tells Mommy what he's doing. All right, he's back.
So I know something is up. Okay. What we have is a situation where you have a lot of members of parliament that are floor mats, that do not have the tenacity to demand more, or does not understand their role and responsibility, or is more in love with the political party than the country, than the constituents. Not understanding that their role is to represent their constituents and not, yes, your party, but what comes first is the people. So in many cases, as it relates to what we have in Carriacou, what we had, they are taking the directives from their party, and whatever the party says, that is what goes. I believe that it has to be a different approach. The approach has to be what the people want, because it's the people that put you there, the people that will keep you there. So that is why we don't get what we need. The people are demanding all of those things, and trust me, their ministers, former members of parliament and present one, would like to do it, but they can't because their hands are tied, because it's whatever the man in Grenada says goes. And that has to change. It has to change, and I believe that I will be able to bring about that change, because I take the directives from the people, and I will always do. And my political party is aware of that. And the people made the demands as it relates to our constituency manifesto in terms of what we need. And first on the list is local government. With local government, it will answer the call, because in that way, the people will be the ones making the decisions as to what sort of development takes place where and how, and not a bunch of people sitting in cabinet making those decisions for political mischief and political gains. But the people will be making those decisions that will benefit the country on a whole, the island on a whole. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. You were recently officially re-elected as caretaker, NDC's caretaker for Carriacou and PG Martinique. Come next election, once all goes well, which are due 2023, you'll maybe going up against, let's say, the incumbent MP, Mrs. Kindra Mathurin-Stewart. The Grenada movement has also signaled their intention to contest the next election, so they possibly may be fielding a representative in Carriacou and PG Martinique. What would make me, as a voter in Carriacou and PG Martinique, why should I select or elect Tevin as opposed to the current MP, and what may be a representative for TGM as well as independent candidates?
Well, there are several things. One, after the elections of 2018, I made it my duty. And as a matter of fact, it was a promise to my mother I made, because I recall going to a political meeting and she was with me and she said, Tevin, even if you don't win, do not forget the people. You must continue to be with them, especially if you want to go back and run. So I made that commitment to her and to the people of Carriacou and PG Martinique. So I've never left the people. I've consistently been with them every single day, on the ground with them, asking for this for their support, giving solutions, assisting in different programs. We started a program for the elderly. Every month of the elderly, we take the elderly out, we give them a massage, treat them with lovely music. We have programs like that. Village cleanup. We help young people start up their business. We help people to go to with scholarship, part-time scholarship, as it relates to secondary school, primary, and TAM-CC. So we do that, and we are not in government. Last election, one of the concerns of the people was that, hey, Tevin is not educated enough. I have started educating myself by now pursuing my bachelor's. I have started a small business. So I have gained those sort of experience, remaining committed with the people and staying in touch with the people, and coming up with several programs that benefit the community of Carriacou and PG Martinique. But more so, the people of Carriacou and PG Martinique could rest assured that they would have a member of parliament that will fight for them and their needs, and will always put their interests, the people's interests first, and never that of the party. I love my party, and I'll do anything for my party. But in the end of the day, the people of Carriacou and PG Martinique comes first. Yes? There are several things that we intend to do, whether it's bringing investments to PG Martinique and Carriacou, whether it is improving the healthcare service by the solutions that I've told you about, partnering with SGU and the diaspora and so on. But another thing that they must vote for me for is that whenever there is an issue, a topical issue that comes up in Carriacou and PG Martinique, I am the first, and in most cases, the only person who talks about it, who deals with the matter. And we have an elected representative who is afraid to deal with certain topical matters because she's afraid of losing votes over it. I, on the other hand, believe that whether I lose vote or gain vote over it, if it's an issue that needs to be dealt with, we must deal with it. So you have a young man that is willing. I won the job as member of parliament. I have demonstrated to you time and time again that I am more than capable enough to get the job done as your parliamentary representative. And I will get it done. I'll get it done. In the coming weeks and months, as we get closer to the elections, you would hear more as it relates to what we intend to do as a political party for Carriacou Petit Martinique and what I intend to do differently. But Blossom, rest assured that this time around, the NDC will be capturing the seat of Carriacou Petit Martinique. I mean, last election, Blossom, it was a close one. I recall the pollster, Mr. Wickham, saying, boy, Tevin, I'm not too sure if you will capture the seat because you need a 11% swing. And I'm predicting that you might only get 1 or 2 because Carriacou is a traditional NNP seat. And he was shocked that we didn't get the 11% swing, but we got 7 point something. From a margin of, in 2013, of almost 700 votes to now a margin of 170. And I've told you that we've never stopped working after the next day after the election, we started hitting the ground running. And I must give credit to my team. I have a wonderful team, a team of senior people and a team of young people. The seniors are the experienced people. The young people are the ones with the energy and have creativity. All credit is to them. I have the team members in Carriacou, the team members in the diaspora. I mean, it's a wonderful effort. It's a wonderful team that is working to ensure that Tevin Andrews become the member of parliament and the NDC wins here in Carriacou Petit Martinique. And I can't let them down. And I won't let them down.
So let me ask this as well. Have you been, okay, we've had an organization, an NGO, started as an NGO, now transitioned into a political party, and I'll use a phrase I heard somebody saying, the Grenada movement cleaning up and taking people. Have you been approached by another political party, whether it be TGM, NNP, or any other, to represent them?
I have been approached. As a matter of fact, until last night, I have been approached by a particular political organization. And, you know, oftentimes I just laugh because I am committed to the philosophy of the National Democratic Congress. I'm committed to that. I believe in the NDC. I know what we have done in the past as it relates to trying to improve our healthcare system, trying to improve our education system, trying to improve our road network, you know, all of those wonderful things, helping to introduce the technology and all of that. So I know what we are capable of, and I know what we did, and I know what we stand for. And as a result of that, I wouldn't change because of 20 pieces of silver or gold. So yes, I have been approached by political parties, but I am committed to the National Democratic Congress, and I'm committed to the people of Carriacou Petit Martinique. When the people of Carriacou Petit Martinique tells me, Brother Tevin, Mr. Andrews, Tevin, boy, I think it's time to switch, or whatever the case may be, which I hope they never come to that conclusion, then the decision will be made. But I'm guided by the people of Carriacou Petit Martinique. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. There are comments on the Facebook wall. Somebody posted on Facebook, you never stopped working. He's been on the ground before last election and is still pounding the pavement. And then there's another comment that said they hope other members of the party take a page out of your book, meaning that you've continued to work with the people. So that's my next question. That has been a comment about NDC caretakers / former candidates, MPs, that after the election you don't hear about them until next election starting in, and then you see them coming back. How can you, as somebody who continues to pound the pavement, somebody so committed to the party, how can you encourage your fellow caretakers to do the same thing, to keep meeting the people, talking to the people, ensure that they keep a presence in the public domain? Have you tried, I should say?
Well, of course, we do have members of my team that are working, the other caretakers candidates that are working. You see, let me be honest with you. Being on the ground with the people is not an easy task. I made the decision to be in the politics full time. The decision was made after the last election because I had to travel to study in Singapore. There was a group of individuals who wanted, me to get out of the politics, to further my education, and to seek, a better life. And of course, I said I made a commitment to my mommy. So I made it my duty to be in the politics full time. That decision is not an easy one. The sacrifices that you have to make. When you are in opposition, you don't receive any stipend or any money from government, so you don't have a salary per se. So it's through fundraising and the good heart of people to give funds. And just as I've started my small business, it has even gotten more difficult to manage the business and the politics, because your energy you would have to either give the energy to the small business or to the politics. You can't give it both. God knows how I'm doing it. Thank you, Jesus. But so I understand my colleagues who are in the health practice or in the law practice and what have you, and how challenging it is to try to do the both. It's not an easy task. So I have given it my all. I've given it my all because I am committed. I'm hungry. Blossom, I'm hungry to win. That bitter taste of losing on that election day of March 13th, I'd never want to feel that again. And I've made it my commitment that I would, by sweat of my brow, we're going to win Caretaker and PT Matnik. So that's the energy that I come with, and I have not lost that energy. Thank you, God. So yes, there are other members that are working, but they may not be able to give it all because, unlike them, I don't have a mortgage. Unlike them, they have several kids that they must look after. So it's a little bit easier for me. But we do have comrades that are working. We must give them credit. Yes, I believe some of them really need to work very harder, because I believe that some of them have, been very laid back and take things for granted. But we do have some members that are dedicated and are working very hard.
A political leader of the NDC, that has been another concern. Concern is not the word. Another sore point for members of the public, including NDC supporters, in that they feel like the NDC can pin down a political leader. We have the acting political leader in Adrian Francis. A general counsel has to be held for Adrian Thomas. What I say?
Francis.
I lost. That is the former president of PW, Adrian Thomas.
Yes.
Persuade, I'm a good cousin too, But the election of the next leader, is that something that you think you may contest?
Oh, no. I've made that very clear on several occasions that it's not my time as yet. I have to focus more on my academics. Let me complete that. So maybe the next cycle. Not this time, not this election. I'm not interested at all. I am interested though, and I'm looking at how things go. I'm still consulting with my team here in Caretaker and others of taking up a post, because I said I wasn't interested. All my energy will be focused in Caretaker, and then I got some calls the very day after the the interview was finished. So we'll have to work that out, because it must be. I don't want to jeopardize my chances of losing in Caretaker by taking up a post in Grenada that will require my time down there, because the idea is to win. As it relates to pinning down a leader, listen, the NDC is filled with wonderful people that I believe that are capable of leading this country. They may not be as popular and as politically savvy as Dr. Mitchell, and I don't think that there will ever be a leader that will be as politically, if I was in the street, I would have said another word. I don't think there'll ever be a politician that may have that sort of spunk, if you want to put it that way, like Dr. Mitchell. But I believe, though, that there will be leaders that will emerge that will be even better. than Dr. Mitchell, whether it's this era or to come. So there are people within the NDC who have run before, who are presently there. Maybe it might be a case where we may have to consider parachuting somebody in. I don't know. Whatever it is, whoever the leader is, whatever the leader is, I am going to support that individual. Because at the end of the day, it is not about one man. This organization has never been about one man. It has always been about the collective team. And that is, and if we look at how the country is running presently with this one-manism, then we see the danger in that. So it has to be a team effort. It's a team. And NDC has always put up a wonderful team. Whether the team work hard enough or not, that's a different story. But it's about a team effort. So we're not. We shouldn't. People should not be worried. Whoever the leader is, you should support your political organization in getting this country back on its feet.
Let's take a break, Tevin, and then we're going to come back and continue the discussion. We're speaking with the NDC's caretaker for Carriacou and PT Martinique, Tevin Andrews. To the point. We'll be right back.
Do you hear what I hear? Listen to the ocean, and you will hear a cry for help. The ocean is hurting, and we are the source of the hurt. But we can stop and start to heal our ocean by preventing pollution from getting into our waterways. It can start with you. Join an active organization, or better yet, make a personal commitment. Commit not for just one day in the year, but for the rest of your life. Let's dispose of our plastic and other waste responsibly, and let's start building resilience. Let the healing begin.
This message is brought to you by the OECS Commission with funding from the Government of Norway. REMLIT, tackling ocean pollution from tooth to surf.
5 things you need to know about self-isolation. Stay home. If you are told to self-isolate, it means staying at home, not going to work, school, or other public places, and you should not have any visitors. Separate yourself. If you live with others, then you need to stay in a well-ventilated bedroom with the door shut. If you have to share a bathroom, then use it after everyone else. Don't share towels and toiletries, as this may put others at risk. Call ahead. If you develop symptoms such as a fever or cough, then seek advice first by calling the Ministry of Health's hotline at 538-4787 or 458-4787. Please do not show up at a medical center or hospital, as this may put others at risk. Take care with waste. If you test positive, your waste should be double bagged and disposed of separately. Create a buddy system. If you live on your own, you can plan with friends and family to check in with each other and run essential errands if one becomes sick. Once sick, they should leave groceries on the doorstep. Why it's important. COVID-19 causes a mild illness for 4 out of 5 persons. Self-isolating will help protect the older generation and
Welcome back to the Point, speaking with NDC's caretaker for Carriacou and PT Martinique, Tevin Andrews, this morning. And this is where we're going to welcome our viewers and listeners who may have comments, questions, queries, concerns. This is your opportunity to ask them. The landline number is 435-2041. The WhatsApp number is also 435-2041. Please, only written messages on the WhatsApp. And you can also continue to post your comments, questions, queries, concerns on Facebook and YouTube. Let's go to our first caller. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, my dear Blossom. How is everything?
I'm good.
And my good buddy from Carriacou. Now, the general from Carriacou, I listen to the past and programs in any case. He's a very intelligent young man, has a foresight. But when you have a nation who people short-sighted and lack of vision, it's hard to penetrate the head to turn things around, you know. Because we only turned around a long time ago. Not today, we didn't turn around. We had a brilliant set of people as the PRG was to turn Green around. And from seeing them gone, Green gone back Zungu. We with lack of vision, lack of foresight, and people educated in Grenada. But I can't understand why we can't go forward. Why we, as a little nation, can't go forward. All that brilliant people we have in this country, and brilliant people running Grenada, but nobody taking advice from nobody to move this country go forward, man. It's time that Grenada go forward with the brains we have in this little country. I listened to this gentleman for the past time. He have foresight for a young man. He have vision, but he implement what he say. With them people who in authority who are the one vision way of life and foresight that's a vision.
Okay.
We need people with foresight. Because Grenada had to build. We are a small nation. We are a little country, little dot. The brains we have in to build Grenada, but why we can't go forward?
Okay.
All this vision we have and foresight, young people in authority, but the people who in authority don't care about them. Come on, man. It's time, man.
Thank you. David?
Yeah, good point, caller. Thank you very much.
There's a comment on Facebook. I would just condense it and ask, what are your thoughts on the COVID-19 vaccination program? Where do you stand on the vaccines, getting vaccinated?
Now, you want my honest opinion. I
Yes.
find it very hard to lie, yeah? But
Fair enough.
I am not vaccinated. And what I'm about to see should not, and I don't intend for anybody to take it and just to say I'm influencing you. I'm not influencing you to do, to follow me. It's you should have an independent mind and do whatever you want to do. But I'm not vaccinated. I prefer taking the Cuban vaccine. I'll be definitely taking that one. Or if others are available after doing the research, I'll definitely take it. But as for the AstraZeneca, I'm not interested in it. However, I would encourage people, if you believe that the AstraZeneca vaccine is good for you, go right ahead and take it. And I am not against being vaccinated. So people should go ahead and do what they have to do, but it should be your decision to make. It's your call. But this is my honest opinion. I don't know why you asked me this question. You want to get me in trouble this morning. I just couldn't lie.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. Somebody on WhatsApp, can you ask him to confirm that ministers have said to him they have little say in the running of things, and that only what the head of government says is actually what gets done or implemented?
Confirmed.
All right, simple as that. And somebody on Facebook is asking, did you get a chance to ask him about the water issues in Dumfries project?
That's a whole, we have to have a whole nother program to address that issue down in Dumfries. We are happy, the Chinese give a gift. They say it's a gift or whatever the case may be. We still would like to see the fine prints or but it's amazing that a housing project is built. We had no local input as to the designs, taking in consideration our culture or anything of that. You build this monstrosity of a concrete jungle there. And you didn't take in consideration the climate that we are living in, which is so hot, no air conditioning system. The water issue, so we have no system, so the water issue has to be sorted out. The sewage situation also has to be sorted out. How do we manage that? There's no social gathering, no social place that was allocated, like for a little park or anything, because you would have hundreds of people living there, kids and so on. So there must be, I see a problem there. I see a problem there. As it relates to fire safety, I haven't seen anything addressing that. I am concerned, Blossom. I'm really concerned. And after speaking to one of the engineers at the ministry, not Caretaker ministry, just to be clear, because I didn't want to get anybody in trouble, but it wasn't from Caretaker, because Caretaker had nothing to do with that. It's all Grenada. After speaking with one of the engineer said, listen, these people came and they do what they had to do, We made suggestions, but they say if we don't want it, lump it.
Wow.
So that was a whole program. We need to have a whole program to sit down to discuss this matter. And oftentimes when I speak about any Chinese project, I oftentimes get myself in trouble with my political party and the Chinese grouping in Grenada. So I prefer to stay off this topic because I'm not sanctioned to speak on this matter publicly, on those Chinese matters publicly.
All right. Let me go back to the landline. Yes, make sure the phone ringing. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Blossom, and good morning to Mr. Tevin Andrew. You look very well in your gentleman outfit. Labby support you. I just want to say congratulations and continue to do what you do. You're very hardworking. The family is taking good care of you. I can see that. And I want to also take the opportunity to say condolences to Miss Claudia Joseph on the passing of her dear mom. She was a pillar of strength in the community and to the family. The supporters support you, and we know that God is looking down at the family at this special time. God bless you, Tevin. Have a nice day.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you very much, caller. I appreciate it.
All right. Facebook. Tevin, you bring so much energy. The question, we've seen how the country has been run by the Prime Minister with his dictatorial hand, and young people especially looking for an alternative which brings them back to the NDC, but they are looking for a young person as they are, who share their views and very much interested in the political arena, but looking forward for that young aspiring leader. How can NDC afford to get these young voters?
Oh, that's a good question. As a young person myself, one of the most challenging demographics of people that I deal with, come across, is the youth. The youth don't believe in voting. And if you look at the last election, a great number of young people didn't vote here in my constituency. And you had two young candidates running here. You had Mrs. Stewart, who's fairly young, and myself. And so what is really, we need to come up with a strategy that will inspire young people in wanting change. Because some young people, we are so comfortable in what we get that we just sit by and just, cast a blind eye on it. And if we can get $200 from the SEEDS program or a few $100s from the Imani program, we're satisfied with that, because that is all that we were accustomed to. So there needs to be a lot of educational programs to help young people, but then you have to be aware of the type of educational program that you want to have as well, because some young people are not interested in going and listening to no boring lecture. So all of those things we really need to take into consideration. But that is a real hard one, I could tell you that. It's really hard. And you can't go in a party, in a bloco, and try to talk politics to no young person. And that's where they are. So it's somewhat difficult. But I believe with persistence, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it's something that needs to happen. But also, I believe it starts in our homes, it starts in our schools. The system, we need to change the system completely to start getting our people, our young people, and our people in general to think for themselves. We have a system that allows people not to think for themselves, and this is rather unfortunate. So it's a challenge. So we need to come up with a strategy. And I know that we are working on a strategy.
Let me go to YouTube. Somebody on YouTube says, Mr. Andrew, you're on the wrong side of the political spectrum. I am going to tell you why. The NDC appears to be politically paralyzed and doesn't seem to have the know-how to revive and stand up again.
Well, whoever made the comment, I respect your opinion. I don't know anything about the NDC being paralyzed. You see, politics, one day in politics could change everything. Don't take the NDC for granted. Don't rule out the NDC. There is a lot happening within the organization that a lot of people are not aware of. There's a lot of people that were part of the NNP who has now moved over to the NDC. We haven't made a statement as yet, but in time to come. There are former colleagues who have left us, but are now back in the fold. We haven't said anything about it. Work is being done. There are many individuals that are being approached. We're not like other political parties, somebody make a move and they make a big statement. We're working, and we're working strategically. So in time to come, you would hear from the NDC. Not every people need to understand that not everything you have to make a political charade about. In some, it's when you grow a potato, you grow the vine and you put it under the earth. It stays under the potato forms under the earth in darkness, quietly. And when it's ready, you go and you dig it up. The NDC is working. The work is being done. I can assure you that work is being done. The mere fact that I'm here speaking with you, representing the NDC, the mere fact that every Sunday we have a program, the mere fact that every Sunday we go out into the community to do a walkabout. I can't remember where we went this Sunday, but last Sunday we went into the South. Every other Wednesday we have a public meeting. The work is being done, but apart from those work, there are other strategic things that are being done, but it has to be done silently. Not everything you have to make a big noise about. When the elections are called, then it will be a different story. You would see the political pickonging and all of those charades and all of that. But as for now, let the work be done silently. All the people that really want change and all the so-called NDCites who are talking the party bad publicly or who claim to be NDCites or supporters, get on board. Assist your political organization. I need help right here in Carriacou. If you can come up and help me to get people registered or to be part of my fundraising team or to be part of my strategic team, get on board. Become a member. Sign up. Pay your membership dues. That's how the party gets funds to do political work. And stop comparing NNP with NDC. NNP has all of the 15 members of parliament elected as members of parliament. All of the 15 candidates elected as members of parliament. They receive an allowance. They receive the salaries. They have nothing else to do than their work as ministers and the political work. With the NDC, something completely different. It's a voluntary system. Everybody's volunteering. Everybody, doing what they have to do. But it's assisting. Could you imagine that you're assisting an organization for the betterment of Grenada and you have Grenadians always attacking them, lashing them, beating them, ponging them down, saying that they're not good, and they're volunteering for the advancement of the country. They're not being paid for it. And we did it in 2013. We lost. We did it, and we continued, and we did it in 2018. We lost, and we remain, and we're doing it, and you're still ponging us, beating us. My God, stop ponging us and get involved. Get on board. It hurts me, bleeds me when I see members and supporters constantly attacking the organization, and they are not assisting in any way, shape, or form. Stop assisting with your attacks and start assisting with your pockets. Start assisting by showing that you really care, by becoming an actual member and getting involved in the process. Get involved in the process to help bring about change in this country. And if you don't want to get involved with the NDC, then start a grassroots movement. Like what's this beautiful lady in Georgia, I can't remember her name, for the Democratic Party, Stacey Abrams. She started a grassroots organization to assist the Democrats. Start an organization, start a grassroots movement to get people registered, to preach the NDC gospel. We have a policy document. It's on our website. Every information that you need on the NDC, every plan that we have, it's there. Get involved and assist in the process. So it's all well that you give criticism. I take those criticisms and see how we can always better the organization and better myself. But my God, there comes a time when the attacks are so much that, it's best sometimes that the criticism comes in the form of you getting involved and being part of the actual process.
Constructive criticism.
Constructive. In some cases, some of those criticisms are not constructive, but in some cases they are. So we appreciate the criticisms, but we're saying get involved as well. And you will, as much as how things are bad with the NNP, and things are bad in the NNP. I tell you, I speak to the ministers, it is real bad. But as much as things are bad with them, you would never hear the members come out and attack their party. You would never hear them do it. With the NDC, it's a different story. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because we are living in a democratic country, but at the same time as you're doing it, let us assist the organization. And all those young people that are also saying that, those lazy old man and them in the party, mind you, we do have some people, but that's a whole different story. But the fact is, the young people need to get involved in the process, prove themselves, and then you after being proved, then the people would put you in the different positions. I got involved in this in 2013. I came in as an assistant secretary, and I worked my way up to the chairman of the constituency branch. And then I was not even thinking about becoming caretaker because I was too young. I was not educated as how people consider politicians to be educated. I had no experience, nothing. But the work that I did, the members saw that, and the members say, you have to be the caretaker. And they voted me overwhelmingly in Caretaker to become the caretaker here. The point I'm making, if you really want to see change, get involved, and things are going to happen accordingly. Stop making excuses. And this fight to save Grenada from the man, I can't call his name here, I'll call him it in the streets. If you really want to save Grenada from Dr. Mitchell, and if you really want to see the backs of Dr. Mitchell and the NNP, then it should be an all-inclusive fight. The members of the TGM, members of the whoever, come together and assist in the fight for Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
You mentioned getting people registered. There's a question on WhatsApp that asks how many people have been registered to vote since last election in your constituency.
What I can say is that the amount of people registered as of today in Carriacou and Petit Martinique is over 5,000. And as we are on that topic, I would be bold enough, Ms. Alexis, to call for the resignation of the supervisor of elections. I have nothing against the supervisor of elections. As an individual, I think he's a nice, cool guy, but he should step down from the post of as supervisor of election. He has not been performing. He is the permanent secretary responsible for agriculture. He spends 90%, if not 100% of his time working with agriculture. And agriculture, the Ministry of Agriculture is such an important ministry. They need him there. It's important that we find somebody that has the time to focus on the office, the parliamentary elections office, 24/7, that will be able to deal with some of the issues there. Could you imagine, Blossom, that the June and December consolidated and addendum list of 2020 just come out the other day? So it means that people who are registered all in January, February, March, April, we have no idea if those people are registered or not, because those lists are not released. There is something happening in that electoral office. I mean, I told them, I'm a regular caller to the electoral office. I think they get annoyed with me in Grenada. Sorry, Mr. Millet and Mr. Ferdinand. But they get annoyed with me, I'm sure, because every minute I call them, because I tell you I want to win, and I have to make sure that the people that I send actually are registered and what have you. So the supervisor of elections is never at the office. You have the addendum and consolidated lists that are sent out late, months upon months late. Every 3 months a list should be sent out. It's not being sent out. What is taking place? What is taking place at our electoral office? He should be sacked or do the right thing and kindly step down. You can't handle it. Focus on the Ministry of Agriculture. Your energies and your expertise are needed there. You cannot multitask with the boat. So I am hoping that this matter is resolved. And I gave the Parliamentary Elections Office notice, Because the last time I've been on your program, we spoke. I told him I'm going to address it. And I said to them, you know what? I'm going to give you time to deal with the matter. The matter is yet to be improved. In some cases, some things have been addressed, but it took so long. And we are now in 2021, and no list for 2021 is yet out. And that is unfortunate. We have cases where people went to be registered and their names never show up on the list. They have to be re-registered. You have cases where people went to be registered and their names were, re-registered rather, and their names were removed from the list. And all of those things, most of those cases were addressed. But I'm just saying there are too many irregularities happening at the electoral office for we not to have a supervisor of election that is permanently there to address those matters. And I believe that the electoral office and all of those people should be taken at task, because this is a serious concern. Do you know what could be happening in this time, Blossom? Because those lists are not being released. Let me tell you what could happen. The NNP, or the NDC, or any political party, could use this time to do voter padding. The constituencies that are bound with each other, that are in boundary with each other, for example, Dr. Mitchell constituency and Tobias constituency, they could be switching people from from Dr. Mitchell constituency because he wins with a large margin. He don't need all the votes. He could switch it over to Northeast. And the time we get those lists that are now produced, that are released 6 months after, by the time we check through those lists to see who those people are and actually go on the ground to confirm that they're actually from the constituency, an election is upon us. And by the time we raise the objections, it's too late. That is what is at play now. And I have no doubt that there is voter padding taking place in this country. And is it a case where the electoral office, I shouldn't be making those allegations, but it's possible. Who knows? Is it true that the electoral office could be working along with certain forces to allow these things to happen? And that's why the list is not forthcoming when it's needed. I don't know.
There's a comment on Facebook that says, may I suggest that the focus be on the registration process, the voters' registration cards, and the amendments made to the RPA? Would that be something that you would continue to press? Like you say, you've been making regular calls, but this is something that you intend to continue to press and follow through on?
The political party is, I think that's Cassandra, the political party is indeed heading into that direction. So yes, this is something not just me, but the political party will address.
As we close the program, Tevin, any final comments this morning?
Well, the final comment is as I've started off. Come to Carriacou Blossom, we miss you here. It's been a long time, we haven't seen you here. Maybe that's why we're not getting adequate rain, because you ain't coming.
I feel that is it. I feel
but I think that's it, I'm telling you. But while I'm on that note, I want to suggest that the Ministry of Tourism, in collaboration with some of the private tourism business, sit together to come up with creating an experience here in Carriacou for visitors who wants to come to Carriacou. What I'm seeing is that people come to Carriacou. Oh, Carriacou is a nice place. Okay, I could go to the nice beach, Paradise Beach, or go over to Sandy Island and go to a bar or what have you. It's the same thing we find in Grenada. But what is the experience that people are coming to experience and then leave and then want to come back? They must experience a Carriacou experience. So there's a beautiful place called Bel Air Park. Create a village, a culture village, so that once a month or every 3 months, what have you, people could experience what maroon is. So you're doing a tour, but it should be a scheduled tour. So you actually come into Carriacou to experience what a real village maroon is. Experience of the slaughtering of the animals, the cooking, preparing of the animals, all of those things, cooking of the food. You will be part of it, cooking it and all of that. So finding different ways for you to have a Carriacou experience so that you will enjoy it and want to come back with your friends and family. And enjoy all the other amenities like the Sandy Island, the Paradise Beach and all of that. That's a suggestion I'm making. If I will take it up, when I become member of parliament, I'll definitely be doing it.
I want to thank you so very much, Tevin, for being my guest. Thank you very much,
my dear. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Hopefully, son gets better as you run off with him to the doctor.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enjoy, and of course, we'll link up again soon.
All right.
Have a good
bye. Take it easy.
NDC's caretaker for Carriacou and PG Martinique, Tevin Andrews. Always enlightening to hear from him, the young mind. And thank you, viewers and listeners, for tuning in to The Point this morning. It is now time for me to make way for Joseph and Mid-Morning Buzz, which is up next. Enjoy the rest of your terrific Tuesday.